This is the 2021 Seton Hill University Men's Lacrosse Season Preview. I'm Dan Flickinger with the Westmoreland Sports Network, and joining me to my left is the head coach of the Seton Hill Griffins in his 15th season, Coach Brian Novotny. Coach, how you been?
I've been great, Dan. It's great to see you, man.
It's great to see you too. Good to be working with you again. Looking forward to calling some of your games this year and hopefully some postseason games this year too.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's for sure. Before COVID hit last year, the Griffins had gotten off to a terrific start, 6-0, including a big win at number 11 Mount Olive. 3 seasons ago, the Griffins captured the GMAC Championship regional title and made it to the NCAA semifinals as a program that competes for championships every single year. So, Coach, I got to ask you first how much we've been through. What's the excitement level like to get to open up this weekend against Chestnut Hill?
Yeah, I mean, it's the excitement level is probably greater than it's ever been at any point in our program's history. I mean, just the opportunity to be together again and to compete together again, you know, is really special to us. We had a scrimmage earlier this year against Robert Morris, which was our first day that we were allowed to be on the team together as a team. And after that game, you know, we performed well. But regardless of that, after that game, it was just let's take a moment and just take this in that we get to be together again. So. Not going to lie, I got pretty close to getting emotional at the end of that, you know. But I think that it's just an opportunity that we really appreciate to be able to compete again and to be able to do what we love again.
Yeah, even though it was a scrimmage, to be back on the field in pretty much a game setting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Take us through last year a little bit, Coach, if you could. Off to a great start, and then you hear the news that the season is canceled. What was that like mentally for the team and just kind of what you went through when you heard the news last spring?
Yeah, obviously that was really, it was a gut-wrenching moment. You know, it was something that we had really, we thought as a team had sacrificed and really committed a lot going into last year. And like you said, we were off to a great start. And then to have it all come crumbling down really, really quickly to no fault of our own, you know, was something that was really difficult to deal with. So I can remember like it was yesterday being in the classroom with the guys and telling them the news that the season had been canceled and we were all going home. And you know, we tried to work through that as best we could. I know one of the big things that we talked about with them right away was just that it was not just them. You know, they weren't alone. It was every lacrosse team across the country. It was every spring sport athlete across the country and really, you know, throughout the world that was having to deal with similar things.
I felt for so many student athletes. I know that obviously the biggest priority is health and everybody staying healthy and everything and avoiding getting COVID, but at the same time, so much blood, sweat, and tears, especially for the seniors. And we're going to be talking about a few of those seniors that unfortunately couldn't come back and ones that are coming back for you this year. But not just at Seton Hill, but the entire country. You had to feel for so many student athletes who put in so much work throughout the years, especially the seniors, to get to that senior year and unfortunately have a cancer.
Yeah, and again, I think that hit our program really hard. You know, we had some seniors that had amazing careers that, you know, then had to make a decision on whether coming back was the right thing for them. But even, you know, down to high school level, you know, you had high school seniors that didn't have the opportunity to come back in any way, shape, or form. And guys and women in all different programs and all different sports, you know, we're dealing with that. So really challenging for them. I think when you're a student athlete at a collegiate level and certainly at a high school level too, a large part of your identity is wrapped up in being an athlete. And then to suddenly have it, again, ripped away very unexpectedly and very suddenly is a really challenging thing to deal with.
Before the pandemic, how familiar were you with Zoom? And how familiar are you now?
I would say before the pandemic, I knew of Zoom, but had never participated in it. You know, I thought I was pretty technologically advanced, maybe hopping on a FaceTime call.
And now you can teach a class, right?
And now I could. I don't know about teach a class. Coach Isles is our tech guy in the office, but I can get on it. I can set up a meeting. I can set up an appointment. I can invite people. We've spent a lot of time on Zoom over just about a year now. You know, we've been spending a lot of time on Zoom.
Yeah, what were some of the things that you guys did to try to make sure the team was going to stay together virtually and getting their proper, I guess, workouts in and the playbook and all those types of things?
Yeah, I think you know, it went all through the spring, the end of the spring last year, and then into the summer, and then even into the fall quite a bit. It was really just trying to be present with each other, you know, and that was hard because, you know, physically we weren't able to be present with one another, but trying to be there for each other really from an emotional standpoint, you know, it's just let's be together as best we can. You know, we did a lot of team building things. We did a lot of leadership development things. Again, just trying to continue to push the culture forward. We were on them probably at the end of spring. We were on them much more about their grades and finishing out strong than we were about anything lacrosse related, just because that was the priority at that point in time. And then as we moved into summer, trying to get our guys connected. We have a group that departs every year, and you have a group that comes in every year with new freshmen and whatnot, and just trying to get those guys connected and to start building that team environment.
Well, we certainly have to keep COVID at the forefront, but let's push that behind us a little bit here.
Yes,
and let's talk about some lacrosse, huh?
Yeah.
We're sick of talking COVID here. Let's talk about this year's squad, Coach. NCAA, as I mentioned, they gave that extra year of eligibility to all of the spring sports athletes in the country. So basically the seniors could come back for an extra year if they wanted to do that. Now, some seniors, they have jobs or they wanted to move on with their life, so they graduated. But there were a few, Coach, that did come back for you this year for their redshirt senior year or graduate year. Logan Maloney, who we'll be talking to, Ryan Manbeck, and Clayton Payson. And I know Jay Skirbo was one of those guys that did get a position, so he moved on with his life's work, if you will. But talk about those guys coming back, and then, of course, what Jay meant to the program when he played here.
Yeah. Well, the guys coming back, that was a really interesting process. Like you said, everybody had an opportunity to return, and we sat down with every single senior and sort of went through the process with them and said, is this the right decision for you on an individual level? Do we have a graduate program that makes sense for you? Do you maybe have some undergrad work to finish up? What's the job economy or the job market like for their jobs? One of our young men, Ethan Quinn, went into a graduate program. He was already accepted and all those sort of things. So, we knew that we had to go through that process with each one. Ecstatic that we got Logan Maloney and Ryan Manbeck and Clay Payson to return. I think it really makes sense for them all on an individual level. Ryan and Logan are enrolled in graduate programs. Clay had some undergraduate work to finish up, so it really makes sense for them. So we're ecstatic about that, and they've provided some great leadership to us this semester. Losing Jay is tough, man. Jay was an unbelievable competitor and an unbelievable leader for us, an unbelievable performer, 3-time All-American. That was a tough one to deal with, and I know Jay put a lot into it, and not getting to complete that senior year for him was tough, but yeah, man, we love Jay and love what he did with our program and for our program, and we're excited that with the group we have and moving forward, but yeah.
Now, Max Eisenman, another guy that moved on, and he's obviously won some big games for you. I know he was kind of competing for time and goal, I guess, last year with Kevin, but talk a little bit about, what kind of legacy he leaves on this program.
Yeah, Max is another one, man. He was a great teammate for 4 years, first and foremost, a great performer for us. Has a couple All-American awards to his name, and like you said, won some really big games. Again, I think Max was one that we would have loved to have brought back. It just didn't make sense for him with what his major is and what his degree was.
And, Coach, that has to make you feel good as a coach to see guys moving on that go into the job market. I'm sure you'd love to have Jay this year. I'm sure you'd love to have Max this year. But right now, especially with COVID, not everybody has jobs, so it's good that they were able to land those positions.
Yeah, I think it's great, and it shows the value of a Seton Hill degree. First and foremost, I think that's one thing we always talking about on the recruiting trails and to our young men when they're here about how important it is to pay attention to their academics and their studies and their education. But it obviously makes you feel good. We want to do what's right for our young men, and whether that was to return for a 5th year or whether it was to move on in life's work. We were just trying to advise them for what the right decision was for them.
Well, something that has to excite you certainly this year, when you look at your roster, you return pretty much all your top scorers from last year. Logan Maloney, we mentioned Manbeck, David St. Clair, Robert Hofseth, Zach Estabrooks, all come back this year. And again, when you look at other teams across the country, not only lacrosse, but all sports, I think you'd probably say you'd feel a little fortunate to have all your scorers back, because when you look at other teams, again, they could have been losing guys and they elected not to come back, but all your top scorers come back.
Yeah, I think we feel great about that. I think we were reading an article the other day. Someone pointed out that our top 10 scorers returned from last year. We didn't even know that number. It's just, maybe we took it for granted. I don't know. But I think we feel great that we have a veteran group that returns. And, we really didn't graduate a lot of guys. The guys we did were really impactful guys. But I think the guys we brought back are really impactful also. So especially in today's world where we're kind of working on a a different fall ball, segment for us, and even spring was a little shortened and some restrictions and things like that we had to deal with. Having a veteran group back and one that's been through the games that we have and has the experience that we have is a really important factor for us.
So I mentioned some of those guys, Coach. What do you kind of expect? I know we're going to be, again, talking with Logan, but Manbeck, St. Clair, Hofseth, Estabrooks, and those guys, what do you expect from them to carry load this year?
Those guys, a lot of those guys were sort of in positions last year where it was really their first year to step into starting roles or really prominent roles on game day for us. Logan had been doing it for a while, and Ryan Manbeck had been in that role for a while, so those guys were very comfortable in it. But David St. Clair, Zach Estabrooks, those guys, it was really their first time to prominently step on to the field. And what we've seen from them so far is just them continuing to mature as players and as people and as leaders. They've all had fantastic camps for us. It's been really fun to see them, from a maturity standpoint, continue to grow.
Now, we'll be talking again with Logan Maloney here coming up in a few minutes. He had 18 goals, 13 helpers in 6 games last year. Coach, he's led your team in scoring 2 straight years. 3 years ago, he was second on the team. What makes him such a special player?
And Logan, first and foremost, he's a great young man, but he's got an unbelievable drive to be successful, and that's what we saw from him when we were recruiting him. He's undersized. Logan's a small guy. And he has a chip on his shoulder because of it, So I think that he's got this really unbelievable drive to succeed, this unbelievable work ethic, and he wants to do things for himself, and he wants to do things for the program that have never been done before.
Who will you be depending on the defensive side of the ball?
Man, we return all of our starting defensemen from last year, so we've got a lot of options there.
Let's not just focus on the scorers here. You guys bring back some good defenders.
Yeah, when the season ended, we were, I think, 4th in the country in goals against average, and I think we were playing at a really high level there. But Christian Crouch will be a 3-year starter for us now as a junior. Andrew Clark had a fantastic start to last year, and we expect that he'll pick up right where he left off. And then we got the big guy in the cage too, right? Kevin Mull. I mean, Kevin had an unbelievable year last year and has been performing really well so far this spring.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you about Kevin Mull. I mean, we talked about Max, who capped off a really nice career for you, but Kevin actually got in goal more than Max last year, and I guess he deserved that, and he played really well in there. So what do you expect from him, kind of an encore year, hopefully a full year this year?
Hopefully. Really, we expect Kev to pick up right where he left off. I think he was second in the country in goals against average last year as a goalie when the season ended. And again, I think he's been a fantastic leader. He got named captain this year, so one of our captains. And he's been an excellent performer, so we really expect him to pick up right where he left off.
Seton Hill was picked to finish second in the GMAC this season. Now, for those that don't know, the PSAC does not sponsor men's lacrosse. They do sponsor women's lacrosse. So you'll see Seton Hill, Mercyhurst in the GMAC, along with Lake Erie and some of the other schools as well. So, Coach, when you look at the second place choice, I know that you're probably going to say we don't look at that stuff, but do you think that motivates the players at all?
I would say that it motivates the players and the coaches.
Okay, all right. I love the honesty, because you always hear coaches, we don't pay attention to that stuff, and I don't believe you.
Yeah, we try not to pay attention to it. I would say, that stuff is there. We care much more about the ranking at the end of the year than the beginning of the year. But I would be lying if I didn't say that it doesn't sit with us and we don't recognize it and say, hey man, we got something to prove.
Yeah, and I'm sure as a coach you use any little thing as motivation for the guys.
Whatever we can use.
That's right.
Yes.
Seton Hill was also chosen 5th in the U.S. Lacrosse Magazine preseason top 20 poll and 5th in the U.S. ILA preseason coaches poll. So again, Coach, I know that you're more worried about where you're going to be at the end of the season, but I talked to Seton Hill baseball coach Mark Marizzotti about this. You guys have great programs. That really is nice recognition for your program, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's great recognition for the teams that have come before us. Sure. I think that the preseason rankings typically are based off of what another team has done, the year before, and those sort of things. So, I think we were having a great year last year, and I think we're ranked where we deserve to be ranked this year, preseason-wise. Certainly hungry to improve it. We've actually already moved up to 4th, I think, in both polls. With some other games going on, we haven't played yet, but we bumped up, so that's always a cool thing to do. But yeah, I think that we're very focused on where we are at the end of the year.
Talk about your schedule this year. One of the games I know you're always excited for is that Lemoyne game. You're not going to play them this year in non-conference, but you still got those big games against Mercyhurst and Lake Erie on the docket, and some others too.
Yeah, the schedule's been, I'm not going to lie, it's been a bear to put together. We had a scheduling reduction from the NCAA from 17 maximum games to 13. And then obviously COVID restrictions and budget implications and whatnot have played a crazy, hectic environment with our schedule, man. It's been really dynamic as we've gone through it. Certainly lost some rivalry games that we really look forward to, but I think we're happy to be playing the ones we are. We were able to put together a 12-game schedule as we sit here today. Hopefully that'll hold.
On this table.
Yeah, regular season games. And I'm excited about the schedule we have. We've got a good rivalry with Chestnut Hill, who's our first game coming up this weekend. We got games with Walsh, Mercyhurst, as you mentioned, Lake Erie. Those are all great rivalry games. We have a game with Mercy towards the end of the year, which would be a really great game. And then we'll start off this year for the first time playing Frostburg State as they transition to Division II from Division III. We actually have them on the schedule twice in back-to-back weeks, one away and then one home. Nice. So that's a really unusual thing. We've never been, been through a process like that.
This year.
It will be, yeah.
Like the Penguins are right now playing the Capitals 2 straight times at Washington. So
yeah, kind of strange, right. So it'll be interesting, man. But I'm excited for it. I think it's a great schedule. I think our guys are going to have a great opportunity to compete against some really good teams, and obviously, hopefully the results turn out the way that we would like them to.
We'll talk about your coaching staff. Your right-hand man is off camera right now, Chris Isles. We're trying to figure out if he was in this dog pile. Yeah. He said he doesn't like dog piles because he's usually on the bottom. So
I'm pretty sure he's in this because I'm pretty sure this was one of his classmates right there. Yeah. So
maybe he's down there somewhere. We can't see him. Talk about your coaching staff.
Yeah, I think we got a great coaching staff. Chris has been with us as a coach since 2013, and obviously before that as a player. Mark Pichet joins us this year. Mark graduated in 2015. So 2 guys that are Seton Hill guys and Griffins through and through. Chris, as you said, is my right-hand man. I mean, he's been with us for so long and means so much to our program and our young men, does a great job with our defensive unit. And Mark is a new guy and a hunger guy. He's another guy who just bleeds red and gold day in and day out. He wants to see the program succeed. And that's really where I think all of our motivations are is we want to see the program succeed.
Coach, one final thing before we bring Logan in. Your message to your alumni. I mean, you have a strong alumni base. I know the program's still not necessarily old, if you will, but I know how crazy your fans are, and they love to watch you guys succeed. And after missing last year, I'm sure they're hungry for Griffins Lacrosse this year.
Yeah, I would say just thank you for all of your support and for all of your commitment over the years. We're fortunate that we are going to be able to have some fans at home games this year.
Yeah, I do want to mention that, sure, as long as the socially distanced stuff takes place
correct.
And the masks happen. But that is great that Seton Hill will be able to host me.
Yeah, as with all things, we got to be really disciplined with that. So we got to make sure that our fans are masked and socially distanced, and we'll be allowed to keep having fans. So hope to see some of them at games, of course, following all the rules and regulations. But I'm really looking forward to being able to show this version of the Griffins off to them.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. We'll bring in Logan, and I wish you the best of luck this year. We'll be talking, I'm sure, before and after some games this year.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
That is Coach Brian Novotny of the Seton Hill Griffins. Don't forget, you can follow Seton Hill Men's Lacrosse on Twitter. They have Instagram. Go check them out there. They always do some great stuff on social media. Coming up right after this quick message from Seton Hill Athletics, we'll talk with Logan Maloney as we continue our season preview show with the 2021 Seton Hill University Men's Lacrosse team.
When I first came back, one of the first things that blew me away was our facilities. How the fields have grown up in that whole complex down the hill. Our weight room now, I mean, how that has been, remodeled and changed and overhauled.
Our baseball field is, in my opinion, one of the best in the nation, Division II wise. And just having Sullivan Gym open for us all the time with the nets in there whenever we wanted to get work in, which is possibly why I got to where I am, because all the extra work that I did put in.
I think our facilities are one of the best across the PSACs, and that's definitely a huge recruiting tool as we are able to draw the athletes for the academics in addition to the great things they can get on the athletic side of it.
I don't think I would be able to thrive in a big school. I think I like that the professors know my name. I like that when I'm walking down the hall I can say hi to someone and I actually know them.
Welcome back to the Seton Hill Men's Lacrosse Season Preview. I'm Dan Flickinger once again with the Westmoreland Sports Network. You heard from Coach Brian Novotny, and now it is time to talk with Logan Maloney, grad student attacker from Peters Township, who returns this year for his final year as a Seton Hill Griffin. Logan, thanks a lot for taking some time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
What's the excitement level like finally getting to play a game after what happened last year? You go up this weekend against Chestnut Hill on the road. Got to be really excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much come full circle. Every day goes by and the whole excitement level, the compete level just amps up every single day. Guys just want to be on the field, and it couldn't be better weather coming down to this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're in February, and we have like 50s or something like that this weekend, so that's a good thing. Take us through what the challenge was like for a student athlete with most of the season being canceled last year.
I mean, it was like the whole world just came down. It kind of just out of nowhere. We're, I think a day away from our biggest game of the season against Hearst. That practice was probably the best practice we had in the last year and a half. Guys were firing all cylinders, and then coach kind of brought it up at the end of practice that something might come out at the end of the day, and then by the end of practice kind of told us the whole season was canceled. I know a lot of the seniors were down, guys were crying, the locker room was really quiet. But guys were already planning what they're doing next year, trying to come back, figure out plans to get back with the team.
Well, obviously you're back this year. I want to ask you about that in just a second, but how did you personally stay in shape? What were some of the things you did to kind of stay busy last spring when you weren't able to be, on campus and around your teammates?
It was nice. As soon as I got home, I got the opportunity, met a guy named Jordan. The kind of IBLA was a big thing this summer with the whole box league shut down in Canada. They did, there was like a U.S. box league, so that started up almost as soon as I got home. So I was able to go out, practice with the guys, meet some of the other guys in D2, D1, and it was really cool to compete all summer and at the end of the spring too, playing with guys, and it's kind of continued that compete level right where we left off.
Oh, very cool. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience, what that was like?
Yeah, it was really cool. So we hosted practices. It was almost like a real team, real draft out of Pittsburgh. Our team ended up going to like the semifinals in it. It was hosted down in Neville Island in RMU. Teams from California, Boston, Florida, everywhere, and all came down for this big tournament. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate in it, but being in the summer, it was really cool. Compete level, I was able to get up and down the floor and stay in shape.
Were any other Seton Hill players or anyone else like in your conference, or did you know anyone else that played on that team or in the league?
Yeah, there was a few guys. I know some from Wheeling, Lake Erie, and there was a ton. Our team was made up of a lot of Seton Hill alumni.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. At least you got to do something and
blast.
Stay in shape and certainly get some type of season, I guess, even though you didn't get one on the Hill. Again, you along with some of your teammates decided to return this year. You could have moved on, but you decided to return. What kind of went into that decision, Logan?
I really wanted to come back from day one. As soon as the season was canceled, I already had plans of coming back. There's no way. My dad wasn't a big fan of it. He kept saying, like, you're getting a job, we're not coming back, you need to get a job. And I was set to go to the police academy, the state police academy in January, and found out it was getting pushed back to next summer. So as soon as that happened, he was like, oh, yeah, you can go back now.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that fit in perfectly.
Of course. So got to go back, got a chance, got on a phone call with Coach Novotny, and 3 days later it was all set. Everything was finalized.
Very cool. So when you're done at Seton Hill, you do plan on being a state police officer?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Talk a little bit about this year's team. A lot of seniors on it, a lot of talent that you guys have coming back from last year. What do you like most about it?
It's definitely a blast. It's a lot of personalities on the team for sure. I think I like most about it and the whole program, it's always been an open offense, free flow. So it's extremely hard to scout a team like that. And with the guys like, I feel our attack has always been a strong guys. Those three guys, Rob Hofseth, Ryan Manbeck, have been in the mix since sophomore year, freshman year. But Thomas Hanulak, Zach Esterbuck's really stepping up to the plate this year. And with that, you're just scouting a bunch of individuals at that point. So it's really hard to kind of figure out how you're going to go into that game with a game plan.
You were named a U.S. ILA preseason All-American along with Zach Estabrooks, Andrew Clark, Christian Crouch, and also your goalkeeper, Kevin Mull. What does that distinction mean to you to be able to have an honor like that?
It's cool to see like hard work finally pay off and get noticed, but like I said, our coach always says those titles are just team goals and team awards. 5 years from now, no one's going to remember if you're an All-American. They're going to remember if you won a championship.
I'll remember.
But I would give up that in a heartbeat for a championship any day.
Absolutely. What do you expect from yourself this year?
I just want to continue how I left off last year. We really started firing all cylinders. Team was 6-0. personally, I just want to have some personal goals, obviously, but I just want to continue to lead this team and be the best captain I can be for the rest of the guys.
I was talking with Coach Novotny. I mean, you guys compete for championships every year, and I know your ultimate goal is a national championship.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think this program has been so special over the years?
I think Coach Novotny is he's a businessman. He knows how to recruit. I chose this school because I feel like everyone likes to say it's a family environment, but it really is. I mean, every huddle's broken down with family, but it's also the way they built year to year has just been extremely incredible. The program isn't very old compared to a lot of the other D2
Right.
programs, so I definitely chose this school because of how well off they are.
Logan, let's talk a little about you. What got you into playing lacrosse at a younger age, and what do you enjoy most about it?
I was still am, but I was very undersized when I was little, so never really good at football. I was getting kind of pushed around. Got in lacrosse and quicker. It was fun up and down the field. I stayed with it, and I usually played year-round, playing box. I just like how you can play the field and then go in the winter and play the indoor, and it's a totally different game, but it's the same thing. And the coaches I've met, my head coach at Peters Township was a Seton Hill alumni, and he really helped me with the whole recruiting process, kind of put me on the line, and it so happened Seton Hill piqued my interest, and obviously I piqued their interest, and it was.
Yeah, and you know, it's great to have you here. That's
Thank
for
you.
sure. You've been such a tremendous player. Now, when you look at the schedule, I know you mentioned last year the next game, Mercyhurst was on the schedule. That's always a fun game.
Yes, sir.
Lake Erie is always a fun game. I know you guys, as I said to Coach Novotny, usually play Lemoyne every year. I know that didn't unfortunately get together this year. Probably has something to do with COVID. But what games do have you excited when you take a look at this schedule?
There were a few games that definitely fell through with the whole COVID, and it's unfortunate because it would have been nice to play some different teams, some new teams. But yeah, Mercyhurst is obviously the biggest and always is every year. I mean, them being ranked one in front of us, and it's probably the best competition we'll see all year. It's just excited to get out there and play against one of the top teams in the country.
Now, Coach Novotny also mentioned that you guys scrimmaged Robert Morris in early February. That's the first time you were out on the field together in a real game atmosphere, even though it's a scrimmage, but it's a real game atmosphere, I'm sure. What was that experience like, getting back out on the field? Coach Novotny said it was a little surreal for him.
Yeah, it was crazy. Coach almost broke out in some tears after the game. He was really happy to be there. He just asked how much fun all the guys had, and everyone just couldn't stop smiling. With it, just talking about COVID, just kind of reiterated, if you want to keep having this kind of fun, we just got to be smart with everything we do.
Now, when you go through something like this, and even if you're not an athlete, I mean, me personally, you kind of take things for granted before the pandemic hit. How much do you now look back and say, man, I don't want to take anything for granted ever again in my life? I mean, I think we're all going through that right now, right?
Yeah, I feel terrible. Some of the other seniors that didn't get to come back, I mean, I would do anything if I were them to be able to get back, and I would have a lot of regrets being them with how the season ended up last year. But a big thing is just telling the freshmen and the younger guys that don't take anything for granted. Make sure you're coming in day to day and working your butt off. I mean, because tomorrow is not promised anymore with today's COVID situation.
So you mentioned you want to be a state police officer. Are you majoring in criminology?
So my undergrad was in criminal justice, and now I'm working towards my master in business with a specialization in management.
Very cool. Can't wait to see you out in the field this year. Good luck
you.
this weekend against Chestnut Hill. This was great, and thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That is the 2021 Seton Hill University men's lacrosse season preview. Don't forget to give them a follow on Twitter, like their page on Instagram. They do a great job with keeping everybody up to date what's going on social media. We'll also have some broadcasts of Seton Hill men's lacrosse this year, and hopefully some postseason ones as well. Again, that is Logan Maloney, grad student attacker from Peters Township. I'm Dan Flickinger. We'll talk to you from Dick's Sporting Goods Field this season.